Namo Buddhaya. In the past, there was an acrobat who was doing stunts on a bamboo pole, and he had a student. One day, this acrobat called to his student and said, "Dear students, let's do stunts on bamboo poles and let's make a good living out of it." Now, but one thing that you have to remember, that when I'm doing the stunts, you have to protect me. And when you're doing the stunts, I'm going to protect you. In this way, we can protect both of ourselves and we can make a good living out of it. Then the student said, "No, sir, it's not the way to do. The correct way to do is that when you're doing the stunts, you have to protect yourself. And when I'm going to do the stunts, I will protect myself. In that way, we both protect ourselves and we can make a good living out of it." Now, the Buddha used this metaphor and this story to give us a beautiful message. The Buddha says, protect yourself from unwholesome actions, unwholesome thoughts, and unwholesome speeches. When you protect yourself as well as the others. Now, Buddha explains how to protect oneself. The Buddha says, practice mindfulness to protect yourself. When you practice mindfulness, you become more mindful about your actions, your thoughts, and your words. When you become more mindful about your thoughts and actions, then you can take control of your life. When your life is under your control, you protect yourself. And also, when you protect yourself, you protect others as well. And also, in the same way, the Buddha says, protect yourself by practicing loving kindness, compassion, and humbleness. When you practice these qualities, you protect yourself from hatred, ego, and jealousy. When you protect yourself from these kind of unwholesome thoughts, you protect yourself and also you protect other people as well. The Buddha says that no one can save us but ourselves. So we need to take control of our thoughts, of our actions, and of our words. So when we do that, we take care of ourselves and we protect ourselves. By protecting ourselves, we give the protection to this whole world. So keep this beautiful advice from the Buddha in your mind and be happy. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to today's video. What should we do when we have been criticized? Now, no matter how good we are, no matter how talented we are, okay, no matter how skillful we are, we've been criticized and we all will be criticized even in the future, okay? No matter how good things that you do to this society, there are people who will not agree with you, who will see you as someone who is like a bad person. So it's okay to be like that. It's okay for people to not to understand you. So how can we deal with this criticism? Now, when it comes to criticism, there are two types, right? The first type of criticism is the constructive criticism. That means if someone is criticizing you to improve yourself, to make yourself more successful, okay? For someone who is looking for your happiness and for your successfulness, may criticize you for the good, okay? But there is the other type of criticism, and that is the negative criticism. Okay, people sometimes when they cannot understand you, people when they are jealous of you, they may criticize you to put you down. So how can we deal with it? Now, I found this wonderful story in Buddhism that teaches you something about criticism. In the past, in the Buddha's time, a group of people went to a monastery and they wanted to meet some monks. So first of all, they went to a monk and he was living kind of a silent and very secluded life. He didn't prefer to talk much. So they went to him and they met with him and asked to preach some teachings in Buddhism. But this monk was so silent, so he used to stay silent, maybe talk a few words and didn't give much information, right? So they start to criticize that monk, saying like, this monk is staying silent. Why he doesn't know anything, right? So they start to criticize. And they went to the other monk to meet, and that monk had a good idea and good way of explanations, and he knew about very deep teachings of Buddhism. And that monk explained very deep and profound teachings in Buddhism. So they could not understand that. Then what they did was they started to criticize, oh, he teaches very complex things and we cannot understand anything. Teach us something simple, right? So they criticized that monk as well. Then they went to the next monk, and he was using very simple ideas and very simple ways of explanation to them. And he was explaining the Buddhism in a more simpler way, right? Then that group of people start to criticize that monk as well. Oh, he's being always simple and superficial and using these simple things we all can understand. Teach us something complex and teach us something deep. Now, all these three monks was confused, like, why do they do like this? So they went to meet the Buddha. These three monks went to meet the Buddha and informed this incident. Then the Buddha said, no matter you stay silent, no matter you teach complex stuff or like profound stuff, or no matter you use simple words to speak, you will always be criticized by people. That's the nature of this world. No one has never been criticized in this world. Okay? So that is why we have to understand criticism is something that we all face in all of our lives. One thing that you have to be okay with is that for people to not to understand you. Okay? Not every person can understand you. Not every person can comprehend that what you are doing. As long as you're doing good, as long as you're doing something helpful for yourself and others, then keep on doing it, whether you've been criticized or not. So that is what we have to have. That is the view that we have to have on the criticism. If you're doing something good, keep on doing it. Do not ever stop being a good person and doing good because of people who cannot understand you. Keep that in your mind. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to yet another episode in Inner Guide Q&A program. So today we are going to talk about how to have a better relationship with people. Well, to start a relationship is very easy. Anyone can do that. But to maintain that relationship to a long time and to have a healthy relationship is a bit of a roller coaster ride. So, our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, taught us there are few things that you need to practice in your life to strengthen and make your relationship so much better. So there are 4 things. These are called Sanghavattu. They are the factors that strengthen our relationship with people. So when we are talking about relationships, our great teacher Supreme Buddha doesn't mention a specific kind of relationship, but he describes these qualities affects all kind of relationship. No matter who the person who you are relating to, if you practice these qualities, that relationship is going to be strong, healthy, and so much better. So what are these 4 kinds? Number 1, our great teacher Supreme Buddha taught us, you need to be generous. You need to have the mind of giving. So what are the things that we can give to people? There are so many things. You can give materialistic things like clothes, money, jewelries, or gifts. So when you're giving these materialistic things, people become happy. So in a relationship, no matter who the person is, it may be your girlfriend or a boyfriend, husband or wife, or your parents, whoever the person is, you need to give something to them, right? You need to give gifts. Not only the gifts, but our great teacher Supreme Buddha taught us, you need to give your love, your affection, your care, and your attention, right? Don't hold on to these things. You should be generous in giving these things. So the first thing that makes your relationship so much strong and so much better is being generous. Number 2, our great teacher Supreme Buddha taught us, you need to speak kind words, pleasurable words. Everyone who lives on this earth likes to hear kind and pleasurable words. So what do you have to do? You need to speak kindly to the people you are relating to, right? Speak kindly to your mother, your father. Speak kindly to your husband or wife or your boyfriend or a girlfriend. So when you speak kind and nice words, their hearts become so much happy. So what you need to do, you need to speak kind and nice words. Be nice to them. Don't be rude to people. No one likes to be with rude and angry people. So what you have to do, speak kindly. And number 3, Supreme Buddha taught us, you need to have the quality of beneficent conduct. What do you mean by beneficent conduct? You should be willing to work for the betterment of the other person, right? So when someone sees someone is working for the good of that person, he becomes happy. That relationship will be strong and more healthy. So what do you have to do? You need to work for the betterment of other people. You need to help them by your actions, from your body. Do something that makes them happy, right? Do something that makes them feel happy and nice about you. So what do you have to do? You need to have the quality of beneficent conduct. And the final quality, this is one of the most important qualities that you need to have. You need to have the quality of impartiality. Simply, it means the equanimity. You need to maintain an equal mind in ups and downs of that person's life, right? So many people break their relationships and leave people when they are facing hard times. So what do you have to do? Be with them, help them, be by their side, and become a strength to that person when that person is down in that person's life, right? So if you can be with people and if you can maintain the same mind in ups and downs in other people's life, that relationship is going to be so much better and so much healthy. So these are the things that our great teacher Supreme Buddha taught us that makes our relationship, interpersonal relationships, so much better. So practice these things. And also remember, a healthy and a better relationship is about 2 things. Number 1, accepting the similarities of that person. And number 2, respecting the differences of that person. So make your relationships so much healthy and better with the teachings of Buddha. Namo Buddhaya. First of all, remember the nature of our life. What is the nature of our life? Life is a little bit unfair. That is the real nature. But the problem is we expect that everything in our life to be perfect and to be fair. That is the problem. That is where the real problem is. Because Buddha said, if you have expectations, if you have more and more expectations inside yourself, chances are very high for you to feel so stressed. So remember that expectations stands for suffering. If you expect the life to be fair, you will suffer, right? So the nature of our life is, it is a little bit unfair. So how to face such situations, how to face unfair situations in our life? Well, I want you to do 3 things when you face tough situations in your life, right? These are very simple, but yet when you practice it, it is very hard to do that, but you can achieve it. Number 1, first of all, you need to realize what the situation is. That is the first thing that you have to do. If you're going through a hard time, right? You need to analyze about that and see what the problem is. Well, there are two types of situations in our life. What is that? First type of situation is the situations which are in our control, experiences which can be changed by ourselves, right? And the second type of situation is the situations which are out of our control. We cannot do many things about that situation, right? So these are the two types of situations that we go through in our life. So first of all, you need to analyze and you need to see what the problem is, whether it is in my control or out of my control, right? When you realize about the situation, then you can do something about that situation. Okay, that is the first thing you have to do. Analyze the situation. Number two, if it is a situation that is in your control, just do something to change that situation. So what are the things that are in our control? What are the situations and experiences that we face in our life and which are in our control? Well, if you face a bad time, if you face a stressful situation because of your own faults, because of a mistake that is within yourself, then you can change it. Because we own our mistakes. We are the owners of our mistakes, and the mistakes can only be changed by ourselves. No one can change that. Someone can advise you, someone can show you the path, but no one can make it correct than you. So what you have to do, you have to change the situation. If it is your mistake, correct it. If it is your fault, then do something about it to change that situation. So these are the things that are in our control. Remember. Here's the third one. When we face the situations that are out of our control, how to face that situation? Well, these are the situations we spend most of our time trying to change that, but we cannot do anything about that situation. So what are the situations which are out of our control? There are many things, right? Criticism is out of your control. People's opinions, they are out of our control. How people behave in front of you is totally out of your control. They are their choices, not your own choice. But we try to change these situations and we become so sad and depressed trying to change, and we find that we cannot change this situation. So if you cannot change the situation, what you have to do, you have to change your perspective about the situation, right? You can change the perspective about the situation, because the perspective, the perspective and the way you see that about that situation is totally in your control, because your thoughts are in your control, right? So what you need to do is, if you cannot change the situation, change the perspective, change the way you see about that situation. Okay? So remember, when people act weird in front of you, when people try to make you angry, when people criticize you, right? When people give unwanted opinions about you, just think, these things are out of my control. I should not waste my time of my life to change these situations. It is much better to change my perspective about this situation. So how can you change the situation? How can you change the perspective? You can be kind to them, right? You can maintain a positive mindset inside you, right? It is much better to maintain a positive mindset daily, every day, right? Listen to some things like positive things, positive words every day. It is much better to do that, because the more you listen to the positive words, positive ideas, right? Then the more you become positive inside, right? Then you can change your perspective about the situation. That is what you can do. Always remember what Buddha said. It is a nice quote that Buddha said that describes about the life. Buddha said, "Achinti tampi bhavati, chinti tampi vinasati." That is one of the greatest and one of the nicest quotes that Buddha have told about the life. In life, Buddha said, "Achinti tampi bhavati." Most of the times, unexpected things happens. Isn't that true? We don't know what will happen in the next time, right? It is a mystery. So in life, always unexpected things happen. And the things that we expected will going to be destroyed, right? If we expect something, we don't get the same thing. That is the thing. So remember that quote that was said by the Buddha. Achinti tampi bhavati, chinti tampi vinasati. Right? And there's another quote that was said by the Buddha. Sadharanang vihanyanti. If you expect the life to be fair, chances are more that for you to suffer in your life. So live with less expectations, right? If you're going through a tough situation, just analyze the situation, realize about the situation, and if you can change the situation, do something about it. If you cannot do it, something about the situation, change your perspective. That is what you can do when the life is not going in your way. So make your life a peaceful one with the teachings. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya. It is quite easy to be patient and to be calm when the life goes smoothly. But where our real patience comes into test is in the middle of adversity. I know it is very difficult to practice patience for all of us. It is easier to say to be patient. It is easier to advise to be patient, but it is easy to, and also it is easy to talk about patience, but to practice this quality, it is really, really challenges for every one of us. So although it is difficult, although it is challenging, we have to practice this amazing quality that brings the happiness and the calmness and peace to our life. So let's talk about how to practice patience according to Buddha's teachings. So in Buddhism, patience is considered as the greatest virtue. In Dhammapada, verse number 184, the Buddha says, patience is the highest virtue. The Buddhas say that Nibbana is supreme, and the one who harms others is not a monk, and one who destroys others is not a monk. So in Buddhism, a bigger space and a bigger value is given to the patience and to practice the patience as the practice of patience as an inner quality, not just to talk about it, not just to read about it or to learn about it, but the real practice. So in Buddhism, the greatest quality in Buddhism, the greatest virtue is considered as the patience also. So what exactly is patience? The Buddha describes this as follows. And what's the patience practice? It is when a bhikkhu endures cold, heat, hunger, and thirst. They endure the touch of flies, mosquitoes, wind, sun, and reptiles. They endure rude and unwelcome criticism, and they put up with physical pain, sharp, severe, acute, and unpleasant, disagreeable, and life-threatening. This is called the patience practice. In another sutta, the Buddha explains about the patience as follows. What is the patient practice? It is when someone abuses, annoys, or argues with you, and you don't abuse, annoy, or argue back at them. This is called the patience practice. So being able to put up with ups and downs and challenging situations and disagreeable experiences in life is called patience. But to be honest, it is really difficult to be patient. Yes, it is difficult. It is going to be difficult, and it will be always difficult. It will never be easy, because that's the nature of all good practices in life. The Buddha said, what brings the happiness to your life? To practice such qualities is the most difficult thing that you have to do in your life. But although it is difficult, we all have to practice this amazing quality of being patient. Now, in Buddhism, being silent, tolerating, and enduring everything out of fear does not mean the real patience. In Buddhism, the real patience comes with a deeper meaning of life. When someone has a deeper meaning of his life, and when someone has knows the true nature of life, then it's very easy for that person to be patient and to practice the amazing quality of patience. Normally, when we tolerate and when we become silent, the reason why we become silent is because of the fear. Sometimes we have no choice to do anything, right? In that case, we become silent. But the Buddha says that that is not the true patience. Someone can see such kind of a person and say, oh, he is patient. But that's not the true patient, because that person doesn't have the power. That person doesn't have the authority to do something, right? So being patient out of fear is not the true patience. The Buddha says about the real patience like this. In Vepachiti Sutta, it is mentioned, when a person endowed with strength patiently endures a weakling, they call that the supreme patience. The weakling must be patient always. So the real patience comes when you understand that there is the beast inside you. What is that beast? The anger. And if you're afraid of that anger, and if you're afraid of that beast to control your life, and if you can be patient in that situation by controlling your emotions and controlling your thoughts and controlling your anger and deciding to not to harm that person, that is called the true patience and the real patience. To practice such kind of a patience, you have to do a great dedication. Sometimes you have to go through a lot of hardships. You have to endure a lot. But still, why you become patient? Because you believe that being patient is the greatest virtue that you can practice in life. And you believe that you are much more better than them, and you have a better qualities than them. If you believe in that, you can truly be patient. To practice patience, the Buddha offers us a path of thinking in a more deeper level of understanding through our life. So suppose a person comes to you and treat you with rude words, right? Or treat you with their meanness. How can you avoid that situation without even worrying? How to do that? So the Buddha teaches us to look at this situation through the 3 marks of existence. So what are 3 marks of existence? So the Buddha says the 3 marks of existence are anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Impermanence, suffering, and non-self. So anicca. Anicca is the understanding about the impermanence. So the Buddha said that everything in life is subjected to change. If you look at our life, there is nothing that we can hold on to and think and find that is not subjected to change. So once you understanding this intrinsic nature or the inherent nature of impermanence, it's very easy to let go of that anger and to be patient. Because let's say someone blamed you or someone treated you with rude words, okay? Right at the moment that you heard that voice, those words, they became impermanent, right? But here's the problem. Why does we hear the same thing again and again, what they said in our mind, and we keep creating that chain of thought, and we keep creating that anger in our mind? Because the mind has the nature to recreate everything that we heard or what we experienced. Okay, so we think that they abused me, they hurt me, and they treated me with these rude words. So I should not be treated like this. But in reality, those words had been impermanent now. They have been vanished. For an example, the words that you heard from me before, now everything has been vanished. They don't exist. That's the reality of life. But once you're understanding this true and intrinsic nature of impermanence, it's very easy to let go of the anger because you don't find anything to hold on to now. What is the word that we have to hold on to now in this moment to be angry? No, it has gone. So once you understand this true nature of impermanence, it's very easy to practice patience. And the second thing that we have to understand is dukkha. Dukkha often refers to as suffering. So the Buddha said that the pain and suffering is a part of our life. So you cannot remove that. We have to face that situation, okay? Because that is the nature of living. The nature of life is it is always connected or characterized by the pain or suffering. This is not to worry about the pain or the suffering, but to see it as a part of life and accept it, learn to be with it, learn to deal with it. That is how we can understand the suffering. And the final thing that we have to realize and understanding is the nature of anatta. The nature of anatta is the nature of not self or non-self, right? The Buddha says that there are things in your life that are out of your control. Not every time you're going to have everything according to your wishes. Okay, there are things that are out of our range of control. Once we understand this true nature of anatta or non-self, it is really easy to accept the truth in life. And it is very easy to not to worry about the things that we cannot control. So if you look at the life, if you look at the situations in your life, in these three marks of existence, the Buddha said that it is really easy to practice the patience. It is really easy to love people, to give your kindness to people, because we know that we are not going to last forever, and we know that they are not going to last forever. What they did was not going to last forever. What they said was not going to last forever. So we can let go of the anger and we can move on. So these are the few things and few realizations that will help us to practice the patience in your life. So keep this in your mind and be patient. Namo Buddhaya. What is the true nature of life? It is the change. One thing that always prevails throughout our entire life, that is change. Everything is subjected to change. We all need to understand it. Everything is changing. And everything has this intrinsic and inherent nature of changing. You have to understand. To understand, you have to become a seeker, not a follower. See, we are in a follower culture, isn't it? Yes, we like to follow people, but we don't like to seek, find, question, ask why, how. We don't ask it. We always like to nod our head. We don't like to question. The first step of wisdom is to ask why, how it is happening. The Buddha says that you should practice Buddhism by asking questions. Asking questions to understand and realize. Why do you ask questions? Because you realize that you don't know. That is the first step of wisdom. The first step of wisdom is to realize that I don't know. I have to learn more. I have to seek. I need to ask. To ask for anything is the most difficult thing. Why? We have to put down our ego, isn't it? Yes. To ask for help, should we put down our ego? Yes. To ask for a question and say that I'm not clear with this, can you clarify it? You need to put down your ego. That is the nature of a seeker. So I will all invite you this day. It's a special day for me and for all of you. Ask questions and be a seeker. Okay? Be a seeker. Find something and ask why. What's happening? How it is happening? I need to know. I need to learn. Because you know that, and you understand that I don't know. That's the beginning of wisdom. That is why wisdom begins from the humblest places. Being humble and understanding that I don't know. I have to learn. I have to seek. I need to get the help. That is where you find the truth.
Now Buddhaya, welcome and welcome back to another video. From today's video, we're going to discuss about one of the major problems that we go through in our mind when it comes to the stress and anxiety. And that is the what if scenarios, the catastrophizing of mind. Now, this state of mind can affect for many people, and they suffer a lot when these kind of thought patterns hit their mind, right? So what if scenarios are like, you imagine all the worst case scenarios in your mind. Like, what if that happened to me? What if everything went wrong? What if they're cheating me? What if the people all around are up to no good? So we expect and we create these scenarios in our mind and we suffer in it. Okay. And our brain is pretty good at creating these scenarios in our mind, right? So that is why we need to learn how to deal with these kind of thoughts when they come into our mind. Not every time we get these kind of thoughts, but when there are certain times that we get these kind of mental states, and it's very painful, and people suffer a lot in these kind of thought patterns. And this is where the Buddhist practice of mindfulness comes in handy, right? In Buddhist practice, we call mindfulness as sati. Sati is the bringing your mind to this present state and understanding the reality as it is, right? So when you understand the true nature of reality, when you understand that everything, every experience, every mental state has one intrinsic nature, and that is changing. Every mental state, every experience is subjected to changing, right? But before doing that, there are certain things that we need to understand and we need to think and practice to deal with these kind of catastrophizing thoughts, right? These what if scenarios. The first practice, we need mindfulness to understand this, because we need to catch this thought, right? Without you catching this thought and understanding and realizing this thought, you cannot do anything, right? You cannot deal with anything that you don't understand about. So the first step is to know that you're in the mental state of catastrophizing, right? What if scenarios. So the first step is to understand and challenge your thought, right? How to challenge your thoughts. Now, in this practice, we need mindfulness. We need to catch this thought, right? And understand as it is. And then ask the question from yourself that, is this the reality, or is this just another distortion of my mind about the reality of the life, right? Because the mind and our brain can distort the reality in many ways. It can create many scenarios, but in reality, the problem is very, very little, right? Sometimes there is no problem. I've seen this a lot of times in mind, that when we don't have much things to worry about, right? When the life goes smoothly, we worry about even about the little things in life. Okay? So that is why first we need to understand, is this reality, or is this another distortion of my mind about the reality, right? When you understand this, when you come to this present moment and understand what reality is, then you find that there are very few things that we need to worry about, and many things, right? 99% of what we go through is just another distortion of our mind, right? So challenging your thought is very important when you deal with these kinds of mental states. And once you understand the reality, now then you can ask from yourself that, what can I do about it? Is there anything that is under my control that I can take some actions to change this state, right? And then you understand that there are certain things in life that are under your control and that are not under your control, that are out of your control. So then you have to realize that the things that are under your control is totally worth worrying and totally worth taking actions. And the things that are not under your control, we don't have anything to do about it. And also, we can't change that state. So, what we can do is we can accept it, right? Once you realize the reality, one thing that you can do is to understand what is in your control and what is not in your control. And that is the next thing that you have to do. And once you understand the present state of mind, now you can add a little mindful practice to your life, right? Such as breathing meditation, right? A mindful in breath and out breath will help you to relieve your stress. Okay, this is something the Buddha introduced us to do, and Buddha emphasizes to do, to stop the chattering of your mind, to stop this restlessness of your mind. Because once you're in these kind of mental states, one thing that happens to your mind is you become restless. So, a mindful breathing practice will help you to relieve the anxiety and relieve the stress from your mind and become more peaceful and calm. And there's another practice that you can do, and this is not directly mentioned in Buddhism, but you can set a time to worry about things, right? So, what you have to do when the worryings and when these regrets and these kind of thought patterns come into your mind, say to yourself, okay, wait, there is a time in my day to worry about these things. So, wait until that. I will wait until that. And when that time comes, I will do my worrying, I will do my regretting. So, what you do, you set an alarm to yourself that I will worry in the future. So, then set a maybe time period during the day that you sit down and think, okay, what what is there in my mind and in my life to worry about, right? And to check the reality. And then you spend a good time. And you don't spend that time worrying and regretting. You spend that time analyzing and not overthinking, but analyzing and realizing about the reality of the life and the present state of life, so that you find there are very few things to worry about in life. And all the other things that our mind has created inside our mind are just nothing but distortions of reality. So these are the few practices that you can add to your life whenever you get these kind of thought patterns. Practicing these tips will help you to ease up your mental state. So practice this and make your mind peaceful and calm. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Good evening, everyone. Welcome and welcome back to another video. From today's video, let's discuss about how can we deal with anxiety and what to do when our mind becomes anxious, right? We all know that how it is painful when our mind becomes anxious and when we become afraid of the things that will happen in the future, or when the mind creates all these scenarios in our head about the things that will happen in the future, right? So, how can we deal with this state of mind? There are a few things that we can do.
right? But most of the time, when we become anxious, what happens is we become panicked and we take decisions that may not be the correct decision to take. Okay, so today I'm going to be sharing with you few things and few advices that I have given and that helped me a lot personally to deal with this anxiety. So the first thing that you have to do is, first, you have to be aware of your mental state, right? If you're anxious, if you're afraid of something, the first thing is to be aware of it and to accept it, right? Most of the time we pretend to be not to be anxious. We pretend not to be fearful about the future, and we try to reject that state of our mind. The more we reject, the more it persists in our mind. So that is why the first step is to acknowledge and accept your current state of your mind. If you're anxious, just say to yourself, okay, now my thoughts are in anxiety mode, right? My thoughts are anxious. I am fearing about certain things. Acceptance will help you to catch the thought and to be more aware of it. And also, when you accept it, it creates less pain, right? Acceptance is the first step of healing. So the first step is to accept your current mental state. And the second step is, this is amazing. Once you understand the current state of your mind, what you have to do, the biggest advice that I have given about anxiety is do one thing at a time, right? Take one action at a time, right? We all know that when we have lot to do, right? When we have many jobs to do, what happens? We start thinking about everything, right? We started loading these thoughts into our mind every time, and we try to do all at once. But in reality, we can't do all at once, right? One thing that we can do is we can take one job, one action at a time, and do that, right? So, how to do this? First of all, to clarify your thoughts and to be clear about what you have to do and what you can do and cannot do, first, sit down in a quiet place, take a piece of paper and write down all the things that you are fearing about, and write down all the things about the current situation that you are in. And also, most importantly, you have to write down the things that are in your control and things that are out of your control. When you clarify these things, you can take actions upon the things that are under your control. So, one thing that you can do is sit down, write down all the thoughts, write down current situation of your life, and write down all the things that are under your control and not under your control, so that you're very clear about what to do and what not to do, right? So when you clarify that and take one action, just one action, and what you have to do, just execute that action, right? Don't try to do all the things, just pick one action and do it at one. It's something like this, right? Something like you're grabbing a bunch of oranges, right? What will happen if you try to grab a bunch of oranges at once? You can't grab all of them, right? It will fall, they will fall. So, one thing that you can do is pick a basket, take one orange at a time, and put it into the basket. In that way, you can grab many oranges. In the same way, when you clarify your thoughts and take one action at a time and execute it, then it will be clear in your mind and it will ease up your mental state. So, do one thing at a time. And the third step is to do it slowly and deliberately, right? Even when you become clarified about what to do, don't be anxious, don't be panicked. What do you have to do it slowly, right? One thing that a lot of meditation masters teach is that when you're anxious, do something slowly, right? Slow down. When your body becomes slow down, your minds become slow down. That's the connection between the body and our mind. When our mind is slow, our body is slow. When our body is slow, our mind is slow. So do things take that action and do it slowly and deliberately. Do it with proper consciousness, proper awareness, and proper mindfulness. That's so that then you feel what you're doing. Then you understand what you're doing, right? So in that way, you can ease up this anxiety. And the last thing that you have to do is do it completely, right? Complete the action. When we are anxious about certain things, what we do, we don't complete that action, right? We just hang over that problem or that task, and we don't complete it, right? One thing that you have to do is do it completely, right? Complete your action, do it slowly, deliberately, and finally complete that action so that that step is finished, right? And then once you complete that action, what do you have to do? Take the next step and do it slowly, deliberately, and completely. In that way, you can clarify what you have to do, and also you will get a good time to take good decisions. So, this is a little way and a tiny practice that you can add to your life to ease up your pain of anxiety. And whenever you're anxious about certain things, try this and it will ease up your pain of anxiety. So keep this little advice in your mind and be happy. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to yet another episode in Buddhist meditation series. Now in today's video, we're going to be discussing about our mind. Now as meditators, we all are dealing with this mind that is inside our life, right? So we need to learn the nature and we need to learn how it works before dealing with it. Because you cannot control and you cannot be aware of something that you don't have any idea about, right? So you need to learn how this mind works inside, right? So our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, taught us what is the nature of this mind. Buddha said, Yena lahu parivattang yathaidang chittang. There's nothing in this world that changes so rapidly than the mind. The mind is the fastest thing in this world. It can travel so fastly. It can jump from one thought to another in split seconds. Right? It is the fastest thing on earth, in the world. So, we are dealing with such a fast thing, such an active thing. So that is why we need to observe it. Now, you all have heard of monkey mind. What is the nature of the monkey mind? Monkey is easily distracted. Monkey is easily panicked. It runs here and there. It jumps from one branch to another. It's screaming, and it hardly stays in one place. So that is the nature of the monkey mind. So we have to deal with this monkey mind. Now, in meditations, we have to, little by little, we have to take control over our mind. That is one of the main aims of doing meditation. Not to let your mind to wander here and there, and just teaching it and practicing it to stay in one place. So it same goes with catching and practicing a monkey to stay in one place, right? You cannot go to the forest and catch a monkey and sit on it, keep it on a table and force him to sit on it, to be focused, to stay still. If you do that, your monkey will be distracted more and more. You cannot catch a monkey and put that monkey inside a cage and lock it to stay still. If you do that, the monkey will be more and more distracted. It will scream inside the cage. So, how to deal with this monkey mind? Well, one of the most important way and one of the most successful way to deal with monkey mind is to be friendly with it. Right? You need to be friendly with your mind. You don't want to force your mind and you don't want to torture your mind to do meditation. If you're forcing your mind to do meditation, then it is not a meditation, because the first part of the meditation is relaxation. How you can gain the relaxation by mere forcing, by torturing. First of all, be friendly with your mind. So how to be friendly with your mind? Now, when you close your eyes, right, and when you start doing any kind of meditation, maybe breathing meditation, you are now breathing, right? When you're doing breathing meditation, you are breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your nose, and you stay aware. But after some time, the monkey mind appears. And it will be distracted. It will run out of the focus and it will start to think some other thoughts. You don't want to be angry with your mind. Don't be angry. Don't be frustrated. Be kind to that mind, because it is the nature, right? So when you become kind to your mind, you bring back your wandered mind, distracted mind, to the focus again with a friendly hand. Right? You don't drag the mind angrily. You just go there, you just be kind to your mind and ask your mind, now it's okay. It's okay that you're thinking of other things, but let's go and think about the meditation again. Let's go and do the meditation. Then it will come back to the meditation, and then also it will stay for a little time. Right? It will stay for another maybe 2 seconds, 5 seconds. And again, what will happen? The monkey appears. Right? So when it becomes distracted, you bring back again to the focus. Right? If you're keeping on doing this again and again, that monkey or this monkey mind will get used to stay at one place. But it takes a long, long time. That is why meditation is not an instant process. It's a slow process, right? Every good achievement in this world, remember this, every good and successful achievement in this world takes time. It takes patience. It takes continuity. It takes hard work. So when your mind becomes distracted, what you have to do, don't be angry with your mind. Don't blame your mind. Don't be frustrated with yourself. Bring back your wandered mind again to the focus point of the meditation and continue the meditation. When it goes again to the other things, bring it back. Again, it will go for the distraction. Just bring it back. Be friendly always, because your mind is yours, right? You're loving yourself. You love yourself more than anyone in this world. That is why you're doing meditations, right? That is why because of love, because of self-love, you're doing meditations. So you don't want to lose your self-love when you are doing meditations. You have to be kind, love your mind, and ask your mind to come back and do the meditation again. Then your meditations will be more successful and more peaceful than ever. So that is the special thing that I have to share with you today. So I wish you all, may all of you have, and may all of you experience a peaceful and mindful meditations in your life. Namo Buddhaya, Teruvan Saranai.